Hallo, ich bin's, Robin, Deutschlehrer mit Core Languages, and today I'm walking around the streets of downtown Charleston, South Carolina, and as always, I have a pretty good question for you. For a moment, think about something that you had to do as a child, or something that your parents made you do. You could say, for example, as a child, I had to take naps, or I had to eat my vegetables, or I had to do my homework. Now, think about something that as a child you were allowed to do. For example, as a child, I was allowed to ride my bike to the park, or I was allowed to watch TV in the evening. Now, when we talk about things in the past, but we say things like, I had to do something, I was allowed to do something. In German, we use modal verbs, but modal verbs in the past tense. The problem with modal verbs in German is two things. The first thing is the conjugation is different. It's irregular, and it's irregular enough that it's a little complicated, and we need to have the conjugation down in order to use them correctly. The second thing is modal verbs change the word order, and we need to remember how they change the word order so we can use them correctly. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use modal verbs in the simple past, or the preterite, so that you can incorporate them into your German sentences. I would say los geht's und viel Spaß beim Deutschlernen.
Modalverben im Präteritum. Modal verbs in the simple past. Modal verbs are a class of auxiliary verb, and we use them to express ability or the inability, to give someone permission or advice, and to add urgency. In German, the modal verb is conjugated and placed in second position in regular word order. And the main verb, or the second verb, the verb that the modal verb is modifying, is placed at the end of the sentence in its infinitive form. For example, musste Hausaufgaben machen. He had to do homework. Musste is the modal verb in the preterite, and machen is the second verb or the main verb at the end of the sentence. Modal verbs follow a different conjugation pattern, both in the simple present tense and the simple past. Feel free to repeat after me, and note that ich and er, sie, es are identical. Ich durfte. Du durftest. Er, sie, es durfte. Sie durften. Wir durften. Ihr durftet. Sie durften. Ich konnte. Du konntest. Er, sie, es konnte. Sie konnten. Wir konnten. Ihr konntet. Sie konnten. Ich mochte. Du mochtest. Er, sie, es mochte. Sie mochten. Wir mochten. Ihr mochtet. Sie mochten. Ich musste. Du musstest. Er, sie, es musste. Sie mussten. Wir mussten. Ihr musstet. Sie mussten. Ich sollte. Du solltest. Er, sie, es sollte. Sie sollten. Wir sollten. Ihr solltet. Sie sollten. Ich wollte. Du wolltest. Er, sie, es wollte. Sie wollten. Wir wollten. Ihr wolltet. Sie wollten. The modal verb dürfen is used to express permission, and in the past tense it would be translated as were or was allowed to. Keep in mind the word order when using a modal verb. The main verb goes to the end of the sentence. For example, zum Beispiel, durfte sein Buch lesen. He was allowed to read his book. Du durftest mein Fahrrad fahren. You were allowed to ride my bike. The modal verb können can be used to express the ability or inability, but also to give someone permission. And the past tense translation would be could or was able to. For example, zum Beispiel, ich konnte schnell laufen. I was able to run fast. Du konntest dir meinen Laptop leihen. You could borrow my laptop, or you were able to, or you were allowed to borrow my laptop. Sie konnten dort keine Handys benutzen. They were not able to use cell phones there. The modal verb mögen can be used to express a possibility or to express to want or to like something. It's also possible to use mögen without another verb. For example, ich mag Kaffee. I like coffee. The past tense translation would be wanted to or would have liked to. For example, ich mochte gestern nicht ins Kino gehen. I didn't want to go to the movies yesterday. Or, du mochtest Kaffee. You liked coffee. Or you used to like coffee. The modal verb müssen is used to express a strong obligation, and the preterite translation would be had to. For example, zum Beispiel, ich musste zur Arbeit gehen. I had to go to work. Or, ihr musstet euch nicht beeilen. You didn't have to hurry. The modal verb sollen can be used to express obligation, advice, or expectation. The preterite translation can be was or were supposed to, but I can also use it to express should, as in you should do something. For example, zum Beispiel, sollte die Hausarbeit machen. I could either translate the sentence with he should do chores or he was supposed to do chores. Or, du solltest besser aufpassen. You should pay better attention. The modal verb wollen is used to express a desire or a strong desire. And the preterite translation would be wanted to. For example, wir wollten Volleyball spielen. We wanted to play volleyball. Or, sie wollte ein gemütliches Café finden. She wanted to find a cozy cafe. Practice. Üben wir. Choose the correct modal verb and past tense conjugation to complete the following two sentences. Du kein Auto fahren. I could say, du durftest kein Auto fahren. You were not allowed to drive a car. Ihr die Katze füttern. The correct modal verb is müssen, and müssen in the simple past for the subject ihr is musstet. Ihr musstet die Katze füttern. You had to feed the cat. And how about these two examples? Choose between sollen and können in the simple past. Ich nicht gut zeichnen. Ich konnte nicht gut zeichnen. I wasn't able to draw well, or I couldn't draw well. Du mehr üben. Du solltest mehr üben. You should practice more. And how about this example? Choose the correct conjugation in the simple past for mögen, to like. Wir mochten schwimmen or wir möchten schwimmen. Both are grammatically correct, but I've asked you to use the simple past conjugation. So the correct sentence is, wir mochten schwimmen. We liked swimming. How about this example? Choose the correct conjugation in the simple past for wollen. Sie wolltet or sie wollte Tomaten kaufen. The correct sentence is, sie wollte Tomaten kaufen. She wanted to buy tomatoes.
Vielen Dank fürs Zusehen. I hope you now have a better understanding of how to use modal verbs in the simple past or the preterite. As always, if you have more questions, feel free to comment, or if you're interested in joining one of our German courses with a live instructor, feel free to message us directly. Das war's. Vielen Dank. Bis zum nächsten Mal.